Okay, let's look at finding some derivatives using the power rule. So we're going to go ahead and just do a really simple one first to show the process, and then we're going to start to use it as it applies to different cases. So I like to think of the power rule as you just take that exponent down front, you multiply it by anything in front, and then you subtract 1 from the exponent, and you're done. So in this first case, let's just do a very simple one with whole numbers, and we're going to take that 6 down front, so it becomes 4 times 6, and then I subtract 1 from the exponent. So my final answer on this first one is just going to be 24x to the fifth. Let's fix that 4. 24x to the fifth. Okay, now, when it's a polynomial, you just apply the power rule to each part of the polynomial, and you'll get your answer. Okay, so now we're going to speed up the process a little bit. I'm not going to write out every single step, but we'll explain it. So we're going to take this 5 down front, multiply it by -3. That gives us -15. Subtract 1. We have x to the fourth. Same thing again. 4 times 3 gives me 12. And then we have x squared. Now take that 2 down front, multiply it by -2. We're going to have -4. And then x squared minus 1 is just going to leave me with x to the first power. Now, when you just have an x value, what remains when you take the derivative is just that number. Because remember, the derivative really is the slope of the tangent line at a point on a curve, right? So if it's just 3x, it's just linear. The slope is actually 3. And then when we have a constant, that goes away when we take the derivative because the derivative of a constant is just 0. So this would be my final answer here. Okay, moving along, let's try a little more complicated versions here where we have to deal with some negatives. Okay, so anytime you see this where you have x values in the denominator, all you need to do is rewrite it to use the power rule. You just need to rewrite it with negative exponents. So this is going to be 3x to the -3 plus 5x to the -2 minus 2x to the -1. All right, so I'm going to take this, and now I'm going to actually take the derivative. And so I'm going to take that -3, multiply it by 3 is going to give me -9. And remember, when we do -3 minus 1, that's actually going to be -4, right? So that's going to give me -4. I'm going to do the same thing here. That's going to be 5 times -2 is -10, x to the -3. And then the final one here, I'm going to take that -1 down front. It multiplies by -2. That's going to be +2, x to the -2. Now you could leave your answer like that, or if you did want to input a number for x, you could rewrite it as -9 x to the fourth minus 10 over x cubed plus 2 over x squared. And now we're done with this one. Moving along, let's look at a couple ones where we start to have fractions. Okay, so just a basic fraction here. This is not too bad, but we'll write out the process just so we know we got it. So f prime of x, we're going to take that, just like taking a whole number down front, we're going to take that 5/4 down front, and we're going to multiply it by x to the 5/4 minus 1. Well, how could I subtract 1? Well, you can just think of it like 4 over 4, right? Because that's equal to 1. And so what I'm really left with here is 5 over 4 x to the 1/4. Now this one's done. All right, last one here is we're going to look at one where we have to kind of translate it a little bit first so that we can take the derivative. Okay, so this is going to be 3 over 2. And then this is going to be x actually to the 3/5. Okay, whenever you have this, it's the cubic, or sorry, it's cubed, but then it's the 5th root. So it's 3 over 5. And now I can go ahead and take the derivative. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring the 3 over 2 down front. And that's going to give me 3 over 5. And then we're going to have 3/5 minus 1. And so I can just think of this as 3/5 minus whatever that denominator is. It's going to be that number, right? So it's 3/5 minus 5 over 5. 3/5 minus, let's make that look a little better. 3/5 minus 5 over 5. Okay, so now remember with fractions, if you want to multiply two fractions, you just multiply the numbers right across. So I'm going to have 6 over 10 and x to the negative 2, or sorry, yeah, negative 2 over 5. Right, and then we'll just simplify the fraction and rewrite this one final time. And that's going to give me 3 over 5 x to the negative 2/5. And now we're done with this one.